Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's ETAPRIME back here again. Today, we're going to be putting the ROG Ally X up against the all-new Legion Go 2. This is more of a performance comparison because when it comes down to it, the Legion Go 2 does have the screen beat on the ROG Ally X. This thing is absolutely beautiful. It's an 8.8-inch OLED display up to 144 Hz, and it supports variable refresh rate. Definitely one of the best displays that we've seen on the handheld so far. But the price is much higher than the ROG Ally X, especially given that you can buy the X used in open box in many different places. But the chips are kind of the main thing that we're going to be taking a look at here. The new Legion Go 2 that I have here is powered by the all-new AMD Ryzen Z2 Extreme. And as we know, the ROG Ally X is powered by the tried and true AMD Ryzen Z1 Extreme. We've seen this in a few different handhelds. It's a great performer for a handheld chipset. But I really wanted to see if it would be worth upgrading to something with that Z2 Extreme, like the Legion Go 2, over the Z1 Extreme. There is a pretty big price difference between the two, especially if you're going to go with a used or open-boxed ROG Ally X or original ROG Ally. But with that out of the way, let's go ahead and jump into it. And the first thing I want to talk about are the differences between these two APUs. Because AMD has set these chips up a bit differently from each other. Over on the left-hand side, we've got the ROG Ally X with that AMD Ryzen Z1 Extreme. It's based on Zen 4, and with this we have 8 cores, 16 threads, a base clock on all 8 cores of 3.3, and a boost clock on all 8 cores that can go up to 5.1 with enough wattage. It's got a 12 compute unit RDNA 3 iGPU, up to 2900 MHz, and the Ally X has 24 gigs of RAM running at 7500 megatransfers per second. When it comes to the new AMD Ryzen Z2 Extreme, it's based on Zen 5, but it's set up much differently. It's 8 cores, 16 threads, but we have 3 Zen 5 cores and 5 Zen 5C cores. Base clock on all cores is 2 GHz. The Zen 5 cores clock up to 5 GHz, so we've got 3 of those, and the Zen 5C cores can go up to 3.3. So we do have a higher CPU clock over on the Ryzen Z1 Extreme. But there is a difference here because the Z1 Extreme is based on Zen 4, the Z2 Extreme is based on Zen 5. When it comes to the iGPU in the Z2 Extreme, we've got a 16 compute unit RDNA 3.5 based iGPU. It's actually the 890M. It can clock up to 2900 MHz. And in the Legion Go 2, we've got 32 gigs of RAM running at 8000 megatransfers per second. And another thing I'd like to mention here before we get started is the drivers for that Z1 Extreme are really fleshed out right now. Manufacturers and developers have had a lot of time to kind of optimize for this chip or optimize drivers for this chip. The Z2 Extreme has been out for a while, but not in the public's hands. So keep that in mind. I think performance will increase, but I don't think we're going to gain like 20 FPS at that same kind of wattage. Not those kind of gains, at least. The first thing I wanted to take a look at were some synthetic benchmarks, and we're kind of comparing the CPU performance here with Geekbench 6. Over on the left-hand side, we've got the Ally X with that Z1 Extreme. I ran at a 17-watt TDP and a 25-watt TDP for all of these tests except for one. And at a 17-watt TDP, that Z1 Extreme came in with a single core of 1,795, multi 7,922. If you take a close look, you can see that it actually beat out the Z2 Extreme in single core, but lost to it in multi-core. But taking it up to a 25-watt TDP does allow that Z2 Extreme to kind of stretch its legs. And on that, we're up to a 2,775 single core and a little over 11,000 on multi-core, beating out the Z1 Extreme in both. Moving over to some iGPU performance, this is Geekbench 6's OpenCL test. On that Z1 Extreme with that 12CU RDNA 3 iGPU, we get a total score of 27,807. And on the 16CU RDNA 3.5 iGPU with the Z2 Extreme, we're up to 32,831. I also ran 3D Mark Steel Nomad, just at the 25-watt TDP with this one because it's really intense. On the Ally X with the Z1 Extreme, we managed 485 and 4.86 FPS. On the Legion Go 2 with the Z2 Extreme, we're up to 571 with a 5.72 FPS. And I'll tell you, with some more wattage thrown at that Z2 Extreme, we can get a much higher score here. With those 16 CUs, the iGPU in the Z2 Extreme can draw a lot of power on its own. And finally, we've got 3D Mark Time Spy. Ally X, still over on the left-hand side, and at a 17-watt TDP, we had a total score of 2,539. On the Legion Go 2, we're up to 2,917, and at a 25-watt TDP, 3,017 on the Z1 Extreme, and 3,528 on the Z2 Extreme. Now it's time to take a look at some side-by-side in-game benchmarks, and what you're going to see on screen running is the 25-watt run, but I also ran the same benchmarks at 17 watts on both of these devices. Over on the left-hand side, Ally X. On the right-hand side, we've got the Legion Go 2. And with that Legion Go 2, the cooling system here is really great. At that same kind of TDP, 25 watts, we're well under those temps that the Ally X is putting out right here. And if you take a look at our CPU clocks, one thing I had an issue with on the very first Z2 Extreme device that I tested were very low CPU clocks. With the newer drivers, seems to fix that, because we are getting higher clocks on the CPU with the Z2 Extreme over the Z1 Extreme, but the GPU is clocking up higher on the Ally X. And this was really odd because at the end of this benchmark, the Ally X actually came out ahead with an average of 42.66 FPS and the Legion Go 2 at 41.32. I ran this a couple times to see if it was a fluke, and no, I mean, we were right there at around 41 FPS on that Z2 Extreme right now in the Legion Go 2 Steam Deck preset 1080p, 25-watt TDP. But when dropping it down to a 17-watt TDP, the Legion Go 2 is now coming ahead of the Ally X with an average of 36 on the Go 2 and 32 on the Ally X. The next one I wanted to test was Shadow of the Tomb Raider, and I just used the built-in benchmark. 25-watt TDP on both of these devices. Low settings, 1080p, and the Legion Go 2 did come ahead in this test. On the Ally X, we had an average of 59. On the Legion Go 2 with the Z2 Extreme, up to 64 FPS on average. And this is exactly what I was seeing on the MSI Claw A8, which also happens to have the Z2 Extreme. But taking it to a 17-watt TDP, it matches the Ally X. So we're at 44 FPS on the Legion Go 2 and the Ally X at 17 watts. So these chips are really trading blows with each other right now. Next one I tested was Forza Horizon 5, and yeah, this is a very well optimized game, but it's one I still personally play a lot. I run this at medium settings, 1080 on my handhelds. We're at a 25-watt TDP, and by the end, the Ally X managed 76 FPS, and the Legion Go 2 up to 80 FPS. Dropping it down to a 17-watt TDP, we're at 62 on the Ally X, and 73 on the Legion Go 2. Black Myth Wukong is another one I always like to test, and I'm not using any frame gen here. And going right into this, I could tell that Legion Go 2 with the Z2 Extreme was coming ahead. And I kind of expected it would happen with this game. With the newer ones, it seems like, the Z2 Extreme does kind of come ahead. Low settings, 1080p, 60% resolution scale using FSR. On the Ally X, we managed 44 FPS, and on the Legion Go 2, we're up to 50 FPS. And a 17-watt TDP, kind of the same case. On the Ally X at 33, Legion Go 2 came in at 42 FPS on average. And the final game I wanted to test was Horizon Zero Dawn Remastered. This really does put a hurting on any iGPU that I've ever tested it on. Personally, I don't think it's a very playable experience at 1080. I mean, you could drop it down, get on up there. But at the end, the Ally X with the Z1 Extreme managed 30 FPS, and the Legion Go 2 came in with an average of 31 FPS. I've done testing on two Z2 Extreme devices so far, the MSI Claw A8 and now the Legion Go 2. We're not seeing a generational jump in performance, and that's kind of been the case with everybody who's been testing out the Z2 Extreme. Some games do perform a bit better on that Z2 Extreme, some perform a little worse in some cases. But when it comes down to it, if you're just hunting for better performance, I don't see a big reason to upgrade from the Z1 Extreme. Now, with a device like the Legion Go 2, we do have that 8.8-inch OLED display. There's nothing else on the market quite like it yet. Detachable controllers. Overall, it's a great handheld, but don't expect a huge bump in performance over a Z1 Extreme. So if you own the Ally X or original Ally right now, you're not going to see massive gains with that new Z2 Extreme. But that's going to wrap it up for this one. I will have more videos on the Legion Go 2 coming soon. I want to do some desktop testing, probably some external GPU testing. So if that's something you're interested in seeing, make sure you hit that like button and think about subscribing. And if you're interested in learning a little more about any of these devices, I'll leave links in the description. That's it for this one. Like always, thanks for watching.